and brave. We don't make things easy for ourselves, do we? We do not make things easy for ourselves. What a big result that was. What a huge result that was. The pressure was on. The pressure was on. Chelsea had beat Norwich. Leicester had beat Sheffield United. Manchester United had to win. We had to beat Crystal Palace. It was a close run thing. But we got over the line. Yes, guys. Manchester United have beaten Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park 2-0. Closed the gap on top four to merely goal difference on Leicester. 1 point behind Chelsea in third. That was a huge win. After what was a poor performance and result against Southampton on Monday, that was, as I said in my preview, it was a massive 3 points. Massive. And for me, what it tells me and what I wanted to see today was mentality. Do we have the mentality to when the things get tough, when the things are not rolling as smooth as it was when you first came out of lockdown, do you have the grit and determination to get over the line? Against Southampton, yeah, we were unlucky that we were down to 10 men, but we didn't have the grit, the determination, the bottle to get over the line. Today, thanks partly to VAR, we had just enough. We didn't play well for most of the first half. Wasn't getting into our passing rhythm, sloppy on the ball at times. But we were still creating some chances. Palace, though, had some of the best chances. Zaha early on tested the head at the near post. And they were pressing. They were pressing. We were hitting them on the counter-attack. The final ball, again, wasn't there. For the amount of time we got into dangerous positions or space to run in behind, the final ball, like against Southampton at times, just wasn't there. It wasn't there. We didn't really test their keeper much until right at the end of the half. And so I spoke about VAR, I spoke about how we rolled our luck at times. That penalty call or non-penalty call on Zaha, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. If the referee gave that, it's not going to be overturned. No way. Because Lindelof did catch him. Lindelof caught Zaha from behind. However, and those who want to say Manchester United, they're going to say it should have been overturned. He did get the ball. Now, he got the ball from behind. I believe he actually touched the ball before he got Zaha. But because he came from behind and took Zaha out after touching the ball, if the referee gave it, it wouldn't have been overturned. It wouldn't have been overturned. They would have given the penalty. So we were just fortunate that the referee on the pitch didn't give the penalty. Because literally, for me, it's 50-50. And in some cases, you might say more often than not, because he came from behind, the referee will give it. So we're fortunate the referee didn't give it. I'm not saying VAR should have overturned it because, again, as I said, he got the ball. I think he did just touch the ball before he went through Zaha, but he came from behind. Very, very risky. That's Victor Lindelof. He had an average game. At times, he was putting in some good interceptions, but at other times, it was just sloppy. His clearances weren't really going as far as they should have. Wan-Bissaka was okay. They left him isolated on the right-hand side. And I think that says a lot about Wan-Bissaka's attacking play or lack thereof. The fact that Palace were willing to give him all that opportunity on the right-hand side, not really fearing the fact that he could put in a dangerous delivery. And the few times he put the ball in, it weren't too bad, but he needs to really improve the attacking element of his game. They should not be that confident to leave any Man United fullback those kind of acres of space. But we trusted that Wan-Bissaka would be able to do a job at right back in terms of one-on-one. He got booked at some point. I think it was in the second half, and we brought on Jesse Lingard a bit after, And I think he was instructed to help double up and help Wan-Bissaka, because of course if he made another foul, he could easily have been sent off. I was surprised that Zaha didn't run at Man United more. There was times in the first half, particularly. The second half, he started doing it. But in the first half, there was times when he could have run at Lindelof and Maguire, and he chose to pass. And I was fortunate, because I'm thinking, if you stand up Maguire with your pace and trickery, he's not catching you. He's not catching you. So we were a bit fortunate in that regard. Fosu-Mensah, he started his first game, I think, for the season, playing at left back. He's not a position. He's not left-footed. He's not really a fullback. He can play right back. He has in the past, but he ain't a natural fullback. He's a midfielder, defensive midfielder. I think he's played centre back before. He's not a left back. But I think we played him there because of his defensive capabilities, because obviously coming up against Townsend and Zaha when they switch wings, as opposed to Dalot, who would offer much more to going forward, but he would leave Maguire exposed by his marauding runs and his lack of defensive capabilities. And I really have to question his future at Manchester United if we got two fullbacks in Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams both out and he still can't get a game. So it could be the end of Dalot. But Fosu-Mensah, for all his inadequacies or his limitations in that position, he had a decent game. He had a decent defensive game. Didn't offer much going forward, but he was okay. But in the midfield is again where we were losing the game. We were losing the game. We had Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, and McTominay, and the passing was just off. We weren't quick enough in terms of breaking the lines and getting the ball from defence into the advanced positions of midfield. Bruno Fernandes' final ball was lacking. Pogba was dwelling on the ball. And Palace grew in confidence because we allowed them to grow in confidence. Like I said, they started the game well, but then we started coming back into it, but we never really got into our rhythm. We started creating a few chances, I said, on the break, but we didn't get into a rhythm. So it always gave Palace the opportunity. And it's going back to the penalty shout. Didn't get that. We went up the other end. And Marcus Rashford, beautiful, beautiful finish. Balls passed into him at the edge of the area from Bruno Fernandes. He sits down, I think it was Van Onholt, sat down the keeper as well. There was another defender who expected him to shoot, dragged it back. Oh, composure onto his right foot, passed it into the corner, 1-0. A 1-0 lead we barely deserved. That being said, we did have chances. We had two chances in the first half where Maguire should have scored from headers. He hasn't done enough in the opposition box, scoring goals for us this season. For someone as big and dominating in the air, and the amount of headers he even wins, he really should have given us the lead early on. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He had two good chances before during that first half from Bruno Fernandes corners. He really should have done better. But we got the goal just before half time, and I thought, okay, we didn't really deserve that, but we got the goal. We need to get a second as soon as we can, and put this game to bed, because Palace ain't got much to play for. So if they go 2-0 down, they ain't really gonna be coming out all guns blazing to try and get the win or get some goals back. You know, they put in an honest performance. But again, second half, create some chances. Rashford probably should have done better with one shot that he had on the left. But again, it was too slow. We weren't breaking the lines through the midfield. We were still getting caught on the ball. The fullbacks weren't giving us much quality out wide. And I obviously spoke about their limitations already. So it was just, we were really relying on Rashford, Martial, and something from Bruno Fernandes. And it wasn't really coming from Bruno Fernandes. So really it was Martial and Rashford. We were relying on Martial and Rashford, as we have for so many games this season. Relied on them to get us out. And in the end, brilliant play from Marcus Rashford down the left. Beats 3 players inside his own half. Goes down the pitch, gives it to Bruno Fernandes, who fires it back into him. First time into the path of Martial, and 2-0. 10 minutes left, 12 minutes left. Not including injury time, and the game's over. The game is over at that point. Palace did have another chance through Zaha late on, but for me, 2-0, that was game over. And You saw it, the energy really sapped out of Palace at that moment. We also got lucky in that second half. Like I said, I was expecting Zaha to run at our defenders a bit more, and when Wan-Bissaka was on the yellow card, I think that gave him the impetus to say, well, he can't tackle me. He can't tackle me. If he tackles me and possibly fouls me, he's gonna get sent off. If it's in the area, he's gonna give away a penalty. And he ran at Wan-Bissaka, shimmied onto his left foot and drilled a shot across the area. And Ayew was at the back post to tap in, and I thought 1-1. It's going to be a tough. And at that time, you think Palace deserved it for everything they've put in so far. They deserved it. But when I saw the replay, I was like, I think it might be just offside. But I was more looking at Maguire and him. When VAR checked it, it was actually Wan-Bissaka's foot from trying to block Zaha's cross that nearly played him onside. It was literally, I don't know, it's as tight as it can get. When you think about, I don't know if you remember, might have been Baldock or Lundstrom or one of them against, it was Sheffield United against Spurs early in the season. And everyone's like, well, if he was a size 6 instead of a size 10, it would have been a goal. It was that tight. But as we know, offside is offside, and this is what they've been using all season. It's very tight to be overturning a decision, but if you're going to overturn it all season, you have to overturn it now. We got lucky, we got off the hook. But what changed the game? It was the substitutions. And some people criticised Solskjaer for the substitutions that he made against Southampton, they were too defensive, showing that we were sitting back and kind of holding on to the win as opposed to going out to get the third. And maybe that did cost us. It gave Southampton the impetus to really push on and get the equaliser, which they deserved and they got. But today, these substitutions really changed the game for us, and it was Lingard coming on for Greenwood and Matic coming on for McTominay. And Matic got his foot on the ball and took control of the game in the way that McTominay and Pogba weren't doing. And his pass, just the quickness in this, even though he did get caught in possession one time, I'm like, what are you doing, Matic? Released the ball. I don't know if he was looking for an option, but he was dwelling too long. Who shouted man on? How is it in an empty stadium, no one's calling and he's not? I don't know, but he lost the ball, and we were fortunate that Maguire was able to block before it created a proper chance. But yeah, he got his foot on the ball and started dictating the play from deep. And that's what really gave us a bit more foothold in the game. And when Palace came forward, is him intercepting and passing, first time through the midfield, breaking the lines and getting us on the counter-attack. And it was, we created a couple of chances like that. Probably should have done better. Bruno hit the post from one of our counter-attacks. Martial linked up with Rashford again down the left. He cuts it back and Bruno blasted when he probably should have scored, to be honest. I don't know how he got man of the match, if I'm really honest, in that. By, I think it was Sky Sports or whatever channel it was on, BT, I don't know. Wasn't man of the match. For me, it was Rashford. Rashford or Martial, you pick one, but I think Rashford, for me, he was the most threatening player from both sides, right and left and through the middle. And he created and scored a goal for himself, composure. And it's a massive win. It's a huge win. We don't need any favours. It's still in our hands. We get 2 wins. We are in the Champions League next year. But I wouldn't mind a favour. Wouldn't mind a favour from Spurs against Sheffield United, against Leicester. And I wouldn't mind a favour from Liverpool against Chelsea, just to make our life a bit more easier. But of course, we are playing West Ham. We play West Ham, if I'm correct, before both of them play next, which means we can put the pressure on them as opposed to the other way around. And just cement what has been a very good end to the season. 19 games unbeaten. 19 games unbeaten. 15 wins, 4 draws. Was it 14 wins? 14 wins, 5 draws. 50 goals scored. 8 conceded. In 19 games, 8 goals conceded. We're on a good run. We're on a good run. We need to see this through. We really do. We need to see this through. Got a big game on the weekend against Chelsea in the FA Cup. It's not the priority. I don't know what team he's going to put out, but it's really not the priority. Of course, I want to win. I want to go to Wembley. I want to go to the FA Cup final. possibly win a trophy, but it's not the priority. Chelsea had 2 days off more than Man United. They had an easier game on paper anyway against Norwich. We had to obviously put our strong team today, barring a couple players. I don't know what the fitness of all our players are going to be like. We've beaten Chelsea. We've beaten Chelsea 3 times this season, so of course we've got a very good chance, but I don't know if we're going to have the energy that we need on that big Wembley pitch to get the result. But this was the important game for the week. This was the massive, massive game after that Southampton draw, and we got the victory we needed. The mentality that I wanted to see, in the end, it prevailed. Even if the football wasn't there at all times, in the end, the mentality saw us through. And we're still in the race for top 4. It's still in our hands. Hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Comment, let me know your thoughts on the match below, and I'll see you soon.